Well, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you all. We will call this meeting to order on this Thursday, August 17th, 2023. Christie, if you would, please call the roll.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Here.
Trustee Porter?
Here.
Trustee Kunkel?
Here.
Trustee Bancole?
Here.
Trustee Prigi?
Here.
And Trustee Husani.
Here.
Very good. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. We have a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Christie, pulling anything off tonight? Okay, Christie, please call the roll.
Okay. Excellent. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
And Trustee Gutierrez. Yes. Thank you.
Very good.
Bless you.
Wow, that resonated in my hearing aids. Oh, yeah. Presentations. Any presentations? I show nothing listed. I assume the SDP plant tour went well?
It was great.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Good. Townhouse session. Anyone wishing? Oh, we got a list.
I do. Start with
Okay.
this.
2, 3.
I have 3.
Okay. Hank? Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Maybe evening.
I woke up a little bit later. No, I'm not working, wake up early. Anyway, 4 seconds for Edmund Burke. 1, 2, 3, 4. Edmund Burke was an Irish economist, statesman, and philosopher. And he said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. That's what he said. Now, here's what I filled in after him. Good men say nothing because they don't want to get killed. However, you're going to get killed anyway. You stand for people, you get killed. And there's an ancient Jewish law, and I'll get my revenge, so it's no problem. Okay, what I want to talk about is the clerks union. The clerks at the village here, they're non-union. And I feel they should be a union, so they help each other instead of every woman for themselves. I had experience with union. Still, if I wasn't union, I probably would have been lasting maybe 6 months. But somehow I was able to last 27 years. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is, are you having a good day? No, wait. This guy. Oh, we got this guy saying he's going to bring all the companies back to America in a month. All the companies been put around the world for cheap labor, and he's going to bring them back in a month, and he's going to pollute the hell out of America. And this thing, I got to kill it. Hold on a second here. There we go. So what else? There's going to be a civil war. I mean, they're talking about civil war. I mean, I joined the service to make people fight for America, and I was wrong because you don't have to fight you don't have to force young men to fight. They fight on their own. I don't know. That's the spirit of fight of the young man. And if you see the movie, Enemy of the Gay, the sergeant lines them up. One guy gets a rifle bullets, the other guy gets bullets. They line them up. They charge the Germans, and they turn around because they were all getting killed. They turn around. The sergeant kill our own man, and later on he had to explain it to the captain, and the captain told the sergeant go take care of himself. Yeah, I would have probably made the same mistake, but if people fight when they're not going to be when they're going to be slaves, they're going to fight. So getting back to if there's a civil war, I got these guys, preppers, putting up guns, food. The only problem is the one, I was talking to a guy at Just Tires who was prior Marine, says if it gets electric motor force, the trucks don't move. If the trucks don't move, the whole United States, well, people in Louisiana, they go hunting, they have no problem. The people out north where they go hunting, they have no problems, or fishing and stuff, they have no problems. With people around here, food will run out real fast, and electric motor force kills the electronic equipment in the truck, and then the truck don't move. As long as the trucks are moving, we got military personnel guarding the whole city, and we got food for everybody. And I seriously consider moving to Australia, but they got the same problems we got here. And I was seriously thinking about moving to England, but they took the rifles away. So, the people can't go against the government, but another government who lets their people have guns and practice can take over that government. And, well, I think that's about it.
That's about it? Well,
Yeah.
Hank, I appreciate you doing your homework and sharing that with us. So
Okay.
you have a nice evening, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Hank. Thank you.
Next I have Bob Hain. Evening, Bob.
Hi, good evening, all.
How are you?
Well, I'm just fine. I'm actually here to hear that, something from you guys. We've been talking about these personal property that's been taken away from the village because it was sitting on the parkway. And I hope that someone has come to their senses and has figured out that it's stupid. It was of no value. The rocks can protect people as well as they can damage people, and the aesthetics wins out. So, is there any information forthcoming or anywhere I can go to find out?
It's been a tough issue. We do need, we've gotten a report from Irma, our insurance carrier. Clearly, we may not like it, but we got some clear message there. I do have to commend you. You've got the nicest looking parkway in the whole village.
Well, thank you.
You put a lot of work into it. You've got
Yeah.
a bench in there. But we can't be inconsistent. We have to be consistent across the board. And
Well, I fear that you guys are
it's
being,
the liability that we're
Yeah.
looking at, and that's what we're talking for.
you're being consistently wrong. It is not a liability to have boulder on your parkway. It's more likely to save someone's life by a car not driving up onto your property. So is that is the conclusion of the insurance adjusters?
That was an eye-opener. And I'll be happy to come by and sit down with you and have a conversation about it.
One last thing is I'd like to see where those boulders are that have been taken from my neighbors. Have they been distributed? Are they sitting in a lot somewhere?
I
They're here.
think they're,
Mayor, would you allow me to chime in?
pardon me,
Would you allow me to chime in
allow you to,
and offer
Chime in.
additional comments?
Yes, please.
go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Hain, so thanks for coming here tonight to address that issue, as well as thanks for coming for the other
Yeah.
times as well. So I don't think that you were here, but we had an entire workshop on this matter. A few weeks ago, we came in early, we discussed this matter at length. We had a representative come from Irma, and many of the questions that you asked, we talked about it there. We had, I don't think you were here, but there was other residents that were here
Yeah, there were. I was
before.
on vacation.
Okay. Yeah, so we talked at length about this discussion. Initially, we explored all sorts of options. We said, well, maybe can, some of the residents be grandfathered in? We looked at that option. Unfortunately, that option was not available because of the liability, and we had someone come out here and tell us that. We've looked at, and then you asked the question about the boulders and the availability of the boulders. So we still have them if you would like to obtain your boulder, you are more than welcome to make an appointment with our Public Works Department, and you can obtain your boulder. We did mention that we will hold on to these until Halloween. So we will hold on to them for several months, and then afterwards, I believe we will dispose of them. But if it is something that you would like to reclaim, it is something that
Yeah.
we have
don't think we
allowed our
picked it up yet.
residents.
Yeah, I have no
One more
investment in
thing
this,
that
it's
I
not
would-
me.
One more thing that I'd like to just touch on is that I don't think anyone likes to be surprised, and we try very hard to be communicative. And we, moving forward on this matter, I know that we also talked about different solutions and ways we could communicate to our residents, make sure that they were aware, not surprised if we, take additional code enforcement measures. So for this particular matter, we will be communicating to the village at large that this is something that is being enforced. So I did just want to make you aware that as a board, we have a lengthy conversation on this matter.
Yeah. Do mailboxes fall in that category? Because they're all in the Parkway. The post office could.
We're not gonna debate
I know,
on this.
I'm just throwing, I'll be done. There are many villages have, people walking to the house and putting in a mailbox on the house. It's just something that was arbitrarily decided by some higher bureaucrat than we. I'm really sorry to hear this. This was not handled well in the first place and not implemented well in the second place. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Wasn't an easy decision, but I'd be happy to come by.
It's okay. What's done is done.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, one more. Mr. Dr. B.S. Kassan, this one?
Come on up.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. This is the first time I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you so much to see everybody,
Well, you're welcome here.
And thank you.
Take your time to speak. You only have 5 minutes.
I'll try to, but I don't know. Okay, yeah.
Can you state your name again, please?
My name is Dr. Keshavan,
Keshavan.
K-E-S-A-V-A-N, Dr. Keshavan. I live in the new developed Veranda retirement community. I think it was, I'm the first one who bought that property in 2019, November 1st. And I'm living there still from 2020, for the last 3 years. And the village has done an excellent job, and the developer, Dr. Anuja Gupta, has done a wonderful job, bringing all of us together, We have a wonderful, multicultural family living together happily, and we have all the, other activities are going on. We have about 21 units, we own that building, and Dr. Gupta has 18 units, still in her possession. And out of that 18 units, 7 units she has rented so far. Rest of the units are still vacant. And one of the good things happened here, this place is so nice. All the shopping areas are so close to us, and the airport is very nearby, and even our worship places are very nearby. So thank you for, I came from Peoria, Illinois, I lived there for 42 years. The main reason I came here, I had a stroke, 2016. I completely survived. My son lives in Chicago, so most of the time for health reason, if I need something, and good health service here. I get, good, medical professionals are there. But when I came here, there's a lot of promises are made, One of the reasons I came here, there are a couple of things are made, and I just wanted to let you know, recently I see the sign in front of our property. There's about, I think, 49,000 square foot is on sale. And when I came to this place, we were promised that we should have a assisted living because everybody's getting older. So in case we need, that we don't have to go to the hospital after the surgery, we can stay there. And a memory loss center because people are getting older, people lose memory. And eventually there's a food service, which, right now we don't have it. And we have a closed fence, because we are all older people, we need more safety because when you hear every day, Chicago, what's going on, And finally, you guys granted us a gate. So this is the first place we have a gated community. So I'm very proud of, village helped me, Anuja Gupta, Dr. Gupta helped me a lot, for this purpose. And, the Stephen Kepala, the inspector helped me a lot. So I came here because Shubhra, Shubhra Govind personally invited me, hey, you come and, give your comment about this in your community. That's why I'm here. But this late development was a little bit disturbing all of us, what's the meaning of this sale? We were not informed, we wonder what's going on, And so this is one of the, thing I wanted to bring it. And also, there is a median in front of our community, it's an old Salem Road. Is there since I moved in. And our landscaper was told that we should take us since from last October, so he was doing that. Then we have 3 directors. I'm one of the directors. One of the other directors is still here with me. And we are managing, the property now with the help of Dr. Anuja Gupta. This is called Veranda Retirement Community. We have our own saving account, checking account, and we have our own, a semi-annual meeting. We collect the income and we spend it very carefully because everybody is retired, they have limited income, But the main thing is now, who's taking care of the median? I contacted, the engineer, Umar. I talked to him, and he came and visited the place. Then I went back to see Sobra, talked about her. Nobody knows who is taking care, but I knew that, the time of development, 2016, Dr. Gupta has signed a, not a contract, it's a document that she will be taking care of the median, but it's almost 7 years old. And now we are asked to pay for the maintenance of the median. And we are all retired people, we are not very rich, but not very poor, but we are to live here. We are invited to live here in your community very happily. But if we are asked to do all these things, I think I just wanted to know, what's, the village feeling about that, And also, all the renting going on in our place right now, even though it's meant for, people to come and buy the places. And so I wanted to know what's the future of this place, because everybody, we came to live here forever. We are not going to leave. It's an excellent community. We like this community. But if more rented people are coming, we don't have any kind of communication with them. We have 21 members in the community. We're very close. Every day we have yoga class, every day, from Monday to Friday. And we have all the festivals, and we have multicultural communities. We have different religions, and we are very friendly. We are very, very inviting. And for that, I really give credit to Dr. Anuja Gupta, because she has a vision, she worked hard, so I'm really thankful for her. But these rented people, there are 7, we never had any communications. Even though we invite them to come to our place, they never showed up, I personally invited a couple of people. So if more rented people are coming, and people are coming and going, they're not staying there for a 2 year. But all these 21 units people, we are living there. There are a lot of single people, single women, and a lot of retired people, all educated people, And when the rented people coming, I wonder how is the quality of the people who are coming here. That's one of the things. Because we all came here with a promise that we have a very decent community, and we will live well. So I'm not complaining, and I'm not questioning anybody, I just wonder what the village in future, about our, place. This is our living place. This is the one we are going to live. We don't want to move any place. But how the future of this Veranda retirement community, say for 5 years from now, what's going to happen? So we like to know. And I'm representing from all the 21 unit people. Everybody is in one family. We all treat as a one family. We communicate with each other. And we tell everything what's going on. So I just wanted to let them know, because we have, every Wednesday, we have our chat meeting. I used to discuss with them, what's going on. So maybe probably next week I'll tell them, what I said. And if somebody can communicate with me, I gave my email address, my phone number, so I'll be happy to,
I think
get
we
this
have
point.
your phone number.
Yes.
And-
My phone number, my email address, and yeah.
You can sit through the meeting and hear
What do
the
you-
dialogue that occurs tonight.
Tonight I can stay there until,
we-
another 1 hour, because I have to take some medications for that, Yeah, and I have 2 other members are here, and, if they like to speak, I'll be happy that they can talk, But I'm not compelling them, forcing to do that,
You-
and, yeah.
If they'd like to speak, if they fill out a form, they're welcome to come up.
Okay, thank you so much, and really appreciate, yeah.
Are they nodding their head or shaking their head? Do you want to speak? I got a no? Yeah, I got a no.
Okay, I really appreciate for giving me a chance to
Thank you.
talk, and this is for complimenting all of you guys, giving an opportunity to come here, stay here. We are enjoying this city, it's a very good city, and the developer has done a good job, I thank you for Dr. Anuja Gupta, she has done a good job. So I have no complaints, just wanted to make sure, we are secure and safe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Pardon me? Yeah, it's down to me. I didn't make my list. But I got in good stead with my wife today, because I took her to the Warhol exhibit, and I hit a home run, just so you all know. It's always good to be in good stead with your wife. So I'll move to approve by unanimous vote items on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Yes, I'd like to remove for discussion item 7A2.
Okay, I asked that earlier.
Well, I'm doing it now to remove it.
We will,
You asked for consent on the consent agenda, so this is consent
7A2.
agenda. Yeah, 7A2.
okay. We'll do that. Anything else? With that, Christie, call the roll.
So just for clarification, you're voting on 7A1, 7A3,
That's
and
it?
that's it.
Very good. Christie, take the roll.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Okay. Just for a matter of clarity for the future, if we could ask for what we're pulling off during the acceptance of the agenda at that point?
Yeah, for clarification, the first call is for the overall agenda, if we want to move anything from the overall agenda. The second call is specific to the consent agenda. So when you ask for approval of the overall agenda, that's the first call. The second call is for approval of the consent agenda. So there are 2 calls to amend the agenda, and that's what, I understand that, and we can do that, but just for clarification.
Yeah, I get it.
That's
I get it.
Helps me a lot, though, with the minutes. Now I have to finish.
Very good. Did we take the roll?
Yes.
We did, okay. 7A2, motion to award a contract for the 2023 Waterman Improvements Project to Girardi Sewer and Water Company in the amount of $1,044,610.50, and authorize the village manager to execute the necessary documents. Further authorize the village manager to expend an amount not to exceed $104,460.50 for possible change orders for the additional work for a project cost of $1,149,071.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, thank you. First of all, thanks for all of the communication, TJ, that you've sent forward, kind of explaining the circumstances that arose in selecting Girardi Sewer and Water for this contract. And I appreciate some of the explanations that went forward about issues with them receiving citations and for numerous violations, even though they date back to 2010. But I'm okay with your explanation of that and the fact that they've done work. Here's my concern, and maybe you can put me at ease, and that's what I'm looking for you to put me at ease with this. I'm not comfortable, or I haven't reached a sufficient level of comfort with awarding $1.149 million to a company that doesn't maintain a website. That kind of boggles my mind in this day and age that we live in, that there's a company that's bidding on a contract of this magnitude, and they don't have a website where you can go and look at anything related to the company. There's no website where you can look at their past projects, their accomplishments, their history. You know, there's nothing, and it makes me uncomfortable awarding a contract of that size to a company that has no visibility on the internet. And maybe you can give me a level of comfort with doing that.
Sure. So for companies like this, their only client is a municipal client. They only do large $1 million+ underground, typically water or sewer projects for municipal governments. They don't get hired by hospitals typically. They don't get hired by, their market is us, and we bid those jobs. So we're their only clients, municipal, corporations, villages and municipalities and cities. And so it's not uncommon for companies like that, because we have to bid. So they're going to find out about the jobs from us through the bidding environment, that they don't necessarily maintain a website. It's a little old school, I would say, but it really isn't uncommon.
So here's my question, Director Moore. They also, being in this business, know that these bids have to go before boards for approval. So even though they may only bid, and you as an engineer or as the Public Works Director may be aware of it, but there's a process that has to be completed. And so that's the bidding, and the acceptance of the bid is just one part of that process. The other process is that it has to come before a board, and it has to receive board approval. So for a person, an uninformed person such as myself, at least to this specific industry, being uninformed, I think it would be helpful if a company like this would be able to list, we've done work with this village, we've done work with this village, we completed this project with this village, we've done this, we received exemplary remarks and congratulations, and we've received this award, we've done this, that, and the other. So now as a board member, when I come and I have to vote on giving them a $1 million contract, I can say, well, here is a history of what this company has done in this environment, and I feel comfortable awarding them that contract. You as an insider, being in Public Works, having communications and contacts with other Public Works directors, that may be inside information, but only you are privy to. You understand what I'm saying? So
yes.
When, as a board member, I don't have have that information available to me. So what recourse do I have? And I trust you, implicitly. Mm-hmm. There's no problem with that. I trust you in your recommendation. But beyond that, what do I and any citizens who may be watching this online, what confidence do they have, and how do we give them confidence that this is a trustworthy, viable organization that can carry out this work and do it in a manner that's going to be acceptable to the citizens of Hanover Park? And so that's my concern, and that's why I pulled it. I just wanted you to speak to that, and I accept your explanation that it's a closed community and they only do it based on bids. But again, and I don't want to reiterate and be redundant, but it does have to go before a board, and I would feel more comfortable. I don't know about my colleagues, but I would feel more comfortable having that additional information to make an assessment as to whether I'm going to vote to approve giving a company $1 million or not.
What's that?
And you may not have an answer to that. That's just my comment on this.
Right. We just checked, and again, just to reiterate that it's not uncommon, the 3 lowest bidders don't have websites. These are plumbing companies. Now, they're plumbing companies that are very big plumbing companies, but they're not always necessarily going to be heavy on the IT side of things. These are plumbing companies that have typically grown over the course of a generation or two, and are now, but
I hear you.
it's a thing.
I hear you, but even lawn service companies, guys that come and cut my grass and do lawn service have websites. So, I mean, and they're not signing up for $1 million contract. So, I mean, but I won't belabor the point, and I'm not here to debate it with you. I hear what you're saying, and if that's the standard for this business, then I guess that's what it is. It is what it is.
I'd like TJ to speak to, or John, to the IDOT pre-qualification and what that means for giving the board the comfort level that they're qualified to do the work.
So in this case, and for jobs like these companies will be pre-qualified. They work through a process with the Illinois Department of Transportation to show that they can do jobs of this size and have historically done jobs of this size. And then I don't know if that really alleviates what you're looking for, but there are multiple levels of satisfying that they are capable and qualified of doing the work, both through IDOT, through the state of Illinois, and then through us, either through past experiences or talking to references, the other communities that you mentioned. And I do understand that that's not as available to somebody that would sit down in front of a computer, and you're right, that's more of an inside thing as we talk to other customers of theirs. So I
So
do
perhaps it would be
appreciate that.
helpful if you listed those certifications and the recommendation or whatever it is that IDOT puts forward that recommends or states that this company is certified and qualified to do the work, perhaps in putting forth this type of a bid and this request. Maybe, and if you put it in there, then I overlooked it, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
But
it is in there, but you're right.
Yeah.
I thought I
But I
read
mean,
approved
it
by
doesn't say what that means, so
Right.
that's why I asked the director to
Okay.
explain, because all we included in the memo was that they are pre-qualified, an IDOT pre-qualified contractor, but. And I just wanted to quickly state, so I echo many of the things that Trustee Porter has stated, because I too had the same questions, if you're a company and you're going out for $1 million bids, why can't I find you online? It seems like something that a business, that's the first thing that they would do, right? Because you want to find customers, you want to showcase to the world the services that you provide. And so I am appreciative of the explanation that Director Moore has provided us. But one thing I would like to add is that, I mean, in an effort in the effort of being transparent, it would be helpful to know, maybe moving forward, if there is a company that we are recommending that we work with, that either they provide us with recommendations or additional information on their work, if they don't have a website that we can peruse, or maybe they just come in person and maybe just provide the board with a little bit, with some more information, because it's hard to, in my mind, it's hard to vote yes to give a company $1 million contract when online it looks like they don't exist. So in an effort of being transparent, and also an effort to just be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars and make sure that it's not going to a company that has questionable business practices or things of that nature. Maybe moving forward, if there is a contract that hits a certain dollar threshold, additional information can be provided if we can't find them online. Is that maybe something we could mull over in the future, if possible?
Yeah.
We didn't make it a requirement that they have a website or some of these other.
I don't think we're asking for it to be a requirement.
Just additional information. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just $1 million is a lot of money, right? You want to be able to say, you know, you want to be able to back up your decision and say, yeah, I feel comfortable with the village doing work with this business.
Yeah. You know, questions like, what are their assets? I'm sure they've got millions of dollars of equipment, you know, that they use to do these projects. You know, what are the assets of the companies? What were their revenues? And, you know, and those type of things. Just to put me at ease.
Right.
And you don't have to respond to that, so I'm
Well,
just.
but there is a
making
response to
statement.
that.
Yeah.
Real briefly, we sort of satisfied that requirement by getting performance bonds, so that it's not necessarily that we have to, with different vendors, go deep into their pro formas necessarily. It's that we get performance bonds to guarantee. So for example, the big benefit of knowing like their assets, for example, is knowing that they're qualified to do the work. That's one of the things they go through with an IDOT pre-qual. But then in addition to that, we get a performance bond so that we can guarantee if by some chance there's a failure of the vendor, they walk away, they go out of business, which has happened to me, then we can draw on that bond to complete the work in some fashion. So that's kind of how we satisfy that asset side of things.
Okay, thank you.
Good, okay. Any other thoughts? Hearing none, Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Priegi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I just want to say that it was good dialogue. I think it's positive trying to understand what we're trying to accept and, you know, the quality outcome for the people of Hanover Park. It's always a key component. Next on the list is move to pass a resolution accepting a 60-day extension of letter of credit for Veranda, Hanover Park, Veranda Unit 2, and other improvements.
Motion?
Move.
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I guess the question is, we're looking for an extension, letter of credit. Did that come through?
Yes, the village did receive a signed.
I don't think your mic is on.
Thank you.
So the one on the agenda is not the one we're accepting, it's the one that you received?
Yes, I emailed to all of you a copy of the letter of credit that was received via UPS. The only difference was it had different signatures than the ones that that was included in your packet on Friday, both from Boosie Bank.
Okay. It's a credible letter of credit.
You'd have, the attorney reviewed it.
It's not a letter of credit, it's an extension. There exists a letter of credit.
Okay.
The letter of credit is from Busey Bank, and that letter of credit would expire at the end of this month. And all this is a one-page document that extends that letter of credit for 60 days. That's what this document does. That's,
Okay.
and so what you're doing, if you pass this, is you're accepting that extension, because the actual document says that it's subject to you accepting. So if you want to accept that, and then you would vote for this.
So the intent is to buy time for Veranda, to get with the engineers to reach a consensus outcome of what needs to be completed, correct? That's our understanding.
I think when we last met, the developer offered to extend it for 60 days, under the notion that that would give some additional time, that the village wouldn't be under pressure to draw the letter of credit at the last meeting, right?
Right.
Or possibly at this meeting. So I believe that's the purpose of it. And as you know, that letter of credit will also expire in 60 days. So this is like a window of opportunity for the developer to try and do something that can be brought back to the village board, and that you may or may not accept.
So there's
That's
no
really-
harm to the village.
There's no harm to the village.
Okay.
And I think I said that the last time.
Well,
I
guess
just
I'm-
want to say that to this issue, I had the opportunity to walk that property with the developer earlier this week to look at what's been done and what remains undone. And there are a couple of things that stood out to me. First of all, the dirt mound is gone. So I'm commended the developer on achieving that milestone. I looked at the developments of Unit 1 and Unit 2, the units that have been completed, and received a very robust explanation as to some of the difficulties that the developer has experienced in selling all of those units. And this speaks to Dr., I'm sorry, our earlier speaker, Dr. Mershon, Kashan, issue about being able to sell those units and having to rent them because of the market, and receive, again, a very plausible explanation as to, certainly that wasn't the intent of the developer, and it was sort of a last measure, a last resort in order to keep the project afloat. So, you know, I did understand that, and again, it's not the preferable solution that I think the village or the developer was seeking, but understandable in the explanation to do that, because as we have all witnessed and evidenced, the senior housing market is in a slump right now. There's not a huge demand for that type of market, as evidenced, once again, has already been stated by the bankruptcy of Friendship Village, which was one of the longest, most outstanding, long-standing senior communities in the state, and having to file for bankruptcy. So, you know, I did understand that. And then to the issue of sidewalks and streets, I also was able to walk and look at the streets that were in question, where there's still some top paving that needs to be done, and there's some sidewalk that needs to be installed. But having looked at it and again, listening to standing there and having the developer explain it to me, it certainly doesn't seem to make sense to finish that street and then haul heavy equipment over on top of it, only to tear it up and destroy it. I think a good example is that we have streets in town where we've not done road repaving because we got to go and fix water mains underneath. And we've said, well, it makes no sense to fix those streets if we got to go back and tear the street up again to do water main improvement. I think that same ideology, that same thinking is what the developer was employing when saying it makes no sense to go in and do this when, you know, as we complete this project to completion, it'll take this project to completion, we're going to tear it up and then have to do it over again. And as far as the condition of the street, well, there's some streets in town that are in a lot worse shape than the streets in Veranda that haven't been finished. So it's not like it's filled with potholes and ruts and everything. It's just a rough, unfinished surface, but certainly drivable, and it's also in a portion of the development that's not being used. So, you know, the part that it's on, it's not like it's getting a lot of heavy traffic, although it could stand it if there were residents there, but those units are vacant where this exists, unable to sell or to rent them. So based on my personal observation, again, I'm an untrained eye, I'm not an engineer or anything of that sort, but in, you know, my untrained opinion, I think that it makes sense then to accept this 60-day extension letter of credit and give the developer the opportunity to continue to move forward with this development project.
Just as a matter of clarification, I believe in neither Unit 1 or Unit 2 are. you had mentioned that you believe that they were. I don't believe they are. If they were, then there would be no discussion about either Unit 1 or Unit 2 not being complete. So if you believe that it's complete,
I'll let the developers, you want to speak to
well,
that?
go ahead.
Yeah.
And secondly, the extension itself is not a solution. It's just giving them a window to try and work something out
Right.
with the village. So, just wanted to raise,
Understood.
so that it's not misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to give the engineers time to get together and reach some consensus.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the consideration, and thank you, Trustee Porter, for your observations. They were helpful in describing the situation. As the attorney mentioned, the purpose of the extension was to give time to the village board to get a resolution from the village engineer as well as our engineer of the number. There was the discrepancy at the last meeting, a big discrepancy which needed to be worked through and resolved. And so that is what we've been trying to do. Actually, the meeting was held today between the engineers, so I'm thinking in a few days, maybe by early next week, there would be some resolution towards that number. And at which point, we would be requesting a 2-year extension to the 60 days for the exact purpose that you just mentioned.
And can you speak to the completion of units 1 and 2? What % complete are those? Was I mistaken?
There's a,
If I spoke incorrectly, please.
yes, I think from Unit 1, which was the first 3 buildings and the roadways associated with it, there was one tiny part which was used as an emergency access, and that needs to be changed and converted to regular sod and seed. It was pointed out by the village engineer to our engineer today, and I plan to resolve that shortly.
And then could you just touch on Unit 2?
So the part of Unit 2 which is incomplete is largely related to the vacant lots, the 2 vacant lots, and the roadway around it. Most of the items listed in the LOC, pending items, are related to those buildings.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we got support.
I think another point that ought to be maybe talked about a little bit is, you mentioned the roadway, the 2 roadways.
Right.
And the one where the construction traffic goes. I believe that the village has bid out already. Is that correct? Has the village bid out already the construction of?
I believe you're talking about Old Salem Road and Old Salem Circle, not the roadways within the development.
Right. I thought the trustee was talking about those roadways.
No, I'm talking within the confines of the.
Within the
project.
confines, not
Yes.
those.
No,
roads.
no,
Okay.
within the confines of the
Thank
project,
you.
yes.
Okay. Any other thoughts from the board? Okay. Thank you for coming tonight. Nuja?
Thank you.
Christie, if you would call the roll on 784.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Briggy?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
And Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Very good. We're giving you the time. Okay, we want to make sense of this thing. It's like going back 2 years, isn't it? With the big dirt mound. So we're gonna get it right. 785, move to pass a resolution concerning Veranda Hanover Park Unit 2 and the other improvements and finding Almond Living LLC has failed to complete or carry out the work and authorize call of a letter of credit.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second, discussion. Is this necessary?
So now, that's what I was gonna ask, is it necessary to put that on the agenda and have a discussion on this, or should we hold on to this?
So I
and move
think,
it?
I think that, it's really up to the village board, but I think that probably what you'd want to do is remove it from the agenda,
Yeah.
since you passed the other one, because that would make the other one kind of make no sense.
This one makes that moot, then, I think.
So I would suggest that you just remove it from the agenda. Maybe the second, get rid of your second and the motion.
I withdraw.
And the person who made the motion, withdraw their motion.
I'll withdraw.
Yeah, and just remove it from the agenda. If the village manager believes that it needs to be brought back to the agenda, then she can bring it back to the agenda.
Okay,
So I'd like to make a motion to remove 785 from the agenda.
Second.
motion is second, discussion, hearing none. Christie, call a roll.
Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yeah.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
And Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Thank you. 786, move to approve warrant 8/17/2023 in the amount of $1,623,828.90.
So moved.
Second.
Question?
Discussion, hearing none. Christie, call a roll.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. 787, move to approve warrant paid in advance, 7/28/2023 through 8/10/2023 in the amount of $420,941.34.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion, hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Village Manager's Report, Monthly Treasurer's Report.
The monthly treasurer's report is included in the packet for July 2023. If you have any questions, this is the 7-month mark.
Hearing none. Obstructing public way is prohibited, section 86-11.
Yes, at the last meeting, the board asked that the language that was being used regarding the activity of removing the boulders be placed on the agenda for information or discussion. We've included in the packet, it's at the end of the packet. Also in there is a description of further description of what's taken place to date and what will be taking place going forward. And the chief would be happy to review that with you if you would like.
Any questions on that?
Yeah, this is really helpful, so thank you for this additional information. I believe one of our residents asked for this information. I believe it was Miss Cindy, so, and she's not here tonight, so can definitely share this with her, but I'm also hoping maybe, I don't know how we're going to essentially word it in the highlighter, essentially notifying, the rest of the village of this, but if it could be tied back to some of the wordage that's used in here, because I just thought that this was like very clear. It talked about the things that are prohibited, why we're doing it, what we've done, so it would be helpful.
We can do that. I just got the draft, and I think the chief was reviewing the article one more time. That's in the highlighter that's going to go out. So
Okay.
there will be just so everyone knows. So do you just want to talk about the next steps and how there's not going to be citations?
Yeah, sure. So we anticipate, we're doing another sweep of town now. We anticipate no later than the end of this month, we'll have 100% of the boulders identified. We think we have it now, but with 10 or 11,000, roofs in town, we're just making a sweep to make sure we get them all. Everyone that we identify by that date, what we're going to do is have the boulders removed by November 3rd. There'll be no citations issued, or on or after November 3rd, I should say. There'll be no citations issued to anyone that we identified during this time period. We will have subsequently published the information in the highlighter and on our social media, so that going forward, if we identify new ones in the future, you know, as it states in the agenda item, they'll be, you know, subject to notification, door hanger, things like that, and then future ones will be cited, but no one under this, you know, initial identification period will receive any code enforcement citations at all.
And the boulders will continue to be available for those who have already had theirs picked up. They want to come back and get them. But as of November 3rd, after we pick them all up, they will all go away because they need to be out of our yard before winter and snow operations.
I think we
So
got a
we'll
fair
hold-
approach on this, so.
Yeah.
Any questions for the minute?
Thank you for coming to that decision. I think in the spirit of compromise, it's a decision that maybe doesn't make everyone happy, but I do think that that's a good decision. Is there any way we could just make sure that the residents that have come and spoken about this before are also just notified of that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
No further
I think,
report.
Village clerk's report?
Yeah, so our car show got rescheduled, so August 27th is the new date. Pray for good weather and just safe back to school, everybody. Just be careful while driving. Those little kids are out now, or they're starting next week, so welcome back to school, everybody. That's all I have.
Well, thank you, and I'm looking forward to marvelous car show.
Can be fun.
I've been busy handing out flyers.
Thank you. Keep promoting there.
Yes, yes. Corporation Council report.
No report, thank you.
Thank you. Justine from Puerto Rico, trustee Gutierrez.
Yes, Justin from Puerto Rico, and wondering what am I doing here? I have a question about that median on Old Salem, and I've called about this before. There's so much trash that island on Old Salem Road, a little island. I don't know what it's called.
It's an island.
Ian?
Yeah, the center median. It's pretty disgusting. I've cleaned it up sometimes, so that's where I have to wait for the light when I go to work. It's pretty nasty. Like, I could tell someone did this and this and this last night just by looking at it. Is there any way, regardless of who is responsible for the cleanup, is there any way to put a no littering sign or something on there? I've seen other communities do that.
So I asked John to step out and speak with the resident about that and answer his questions. So when he comes in, he can give you a more technical response to that question. But until Unit 1 is accepted by the village board, it's the developer's responsibility to maintain those medians. So I believe the gentleman that was here, it was the homeowners association president, and so they've planted it, but we went out there the other day and it does have it's not being maintained. So some parts are overgrown, some have some weeds and stuff, and so they're gonna need to go back and put it back to meet the plan before we recommend to the board that it be accepted. But they could do, when they come forward, that once the board accepts Unit 1, then we will take over maintenance for those medians. I do think, though, it's just like the wind and stuff blowing trash. I don't think it's people necessarily throwing stuff out of their window, but I don't know.
It looks like it.
But I think providing clarity to the developer and to the homeowners association that it's their responsibility currently to maintain that. We're hoping that it will see some improvement, at least between now and when we accept it.
TJ, were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to maybe say what Juliana had said, that that's mostly flyaway trash, because that is a very windy spot right there, and it does capture a lot of it. So that's the first windbreak for a pretty long way. So a lot of that's trash coming from either the shopping center or from possibly on the,
No, it's not Princeton Circle. It's Northway.
so there's a lot of that is flyaway trash.
It's a lot of little liquor bottles. So you know they're throwing them out the window. Anywho, I'd like to see that cleaned up at some point, if that's something we have to mention. And I was pleasantly surprised to see the mountains gone. So that's great, and the lawn got, yeah, so it looks a lot better, and hopefully that stays that way. I want to see this completed in 2024 with a letter of credit expiring in 25. I believe it's doable. And I do believe that the residents of Veranda are owed an explanation, because they, from what I gathered today, they're putting the onus on us as to where the amenities that they were promised are at. The assisted living promises, the memory center, the food service, and that's not on the village. So that needs to be clarified with that community as well at some point. Another, I don't have a lot to say, just want to say thank you to Trustee Porter for putting up with me at the Sox game as I cheered on the Yankees. That was fun, that's all.
You were a little insufferable, but it was okay.
So, just so that all of you know, as far as the lots that are for sale, the Long John Silver's piece of property that the developer purchased is not part of the PUD. So she has, there's more flexibility for a purchaser on that corner. It still needs to meet our zoning and everything, but the other lots need to meet the requirements of the PUD, which clearly outline that the use is for the continuum of care facilities that were part of the original plan. Now, the part that hasn't happened, right, is that third phase, or unit 3, has not been approved yet. So you could explain it a little bit more, the status of those in terms of a sale.
The PUD, when it was approved, allowed for them to come in and get 3 final plats. The 2 were approved. The third one is for the multi-story building. So that we don't have a plat for. That will include final engineering, all of the detailed building plans, et cetera. That has not come in yet.
But the use has been set.
But the use was approved, yes. With the specific number of units, there were a certain number of units that would be condo, certain for assisted living, and 12 for memory care, for a total of 215 units.
So while we receive calls about other uses, the message that's being given is this is what, by staff, is this is what is allowed per the approvals on that property.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Trustee Porter?
Thank you. Been a few things that have gone on since our last meeting. I attended a CETA board meeting last week, and found out that there are going to be some enhancements to the LIHEAP program and the weatherization. They're going to extend that, put more agents or more representatives, more service representatives out in the field to offer that service. And so they're also looking at building some additional training facilities. Right now, the only one we have is out in the south suburbs, and I'm petitioning, trying to get one built in the northwest suburbs for a training facility for the weatherization specialists, so that there can be more of a concentrated effort to respond in a more timely manner to residents in the northwest suburbs who apply for the benefits from the weatherization program. So that is moving forward, and I expect to see some results from that discussion coming back very shortly. I attended the Hanover Township backpack distribution. It was very well attended. I think the measure that they took to have people pre-register kind of solved that huge line that, you know, always was there at the backpack, where it was down Astor Avenue and almost all the way down past those units. By having them pre-register, it was very orderly, the way that it was managed, some very nice items included in the backpack. The families were happy because they weren't waiting in line for, I don't think any more than about 10 or 15 minutes was the average wait for a family waiting in line. And they had plenty of backpacks and were able to service all of those who came to receive them. I had a meeting with the mayor and with Chief Johnson on crime-free housing. It's an issue that had come up at the NAACP on the national level and also at the local level, where the practice has been questioned as to the fairness and the equity of it and how it's been applied in different localities. After my discussion with Chief Johnson, as he explained how Hanover Park approaches that measure, how it's applied and how we abide by it, I walked away very pleased with the way that we handle that. I think we do it in a very, very humane, with a lot of empathy, but also respecting the intent of the law, but not being overbearing or causing an undue burden on families as a result of the law. Chief Johnson forwarded a copy of the resolution, the ordinance to me, and I added some notes and have forwarded to the NAACP that maybe Hanover Park can be a model for how crime-free housing can be administered in other municipalities. So that was a very fruitful and productive meeting.
We've been proud of that initiative, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I was just impressed that over the years, with the number of crimes that have been committed in those housing in proportion to the number of evictions, just shows me that it's been handled with a level of sensitivity. Because if we were going by a strict letter of the law with no regard to the individual circumstances, those eviction numbers would have been much higher. But I think there was only 2 evictions in 2021 and 3 in one other year when there were over 20 crimes that were committed. So that ratio seems pretty fair to me, and I trust that our department is doing the right thing in that. In administering that ordinance. I attended the Laurel Hill flag raising ceremony on Wednesday with Principal Maria Lopez. It was wonderful to see all of the kids back at school, the kindergartners, and also to hear from some of the programs that they have scheduled for this coming year. One of the things that I was really excited about is that they're going to have preschool at the Laurel Hill School, and I think that's kind of new for U46 to have preschool. So we're going to have two half-day sessions where they're, and that's going to start next month. But they're very excited about it, and I think that's a tremendous help to a lot of the families here in the area to have that type of service available to the parents and to the families. So that was an exciting time to do that, to be there for that. I was honored to sing the national anthem for them on that day. And finally, TJ, I apologize that I meant to call you on this, and it just got away from me. And I really don't like bringing stuff up like that at the board meeting, but be that as it may. The sign on Barrington Road, our electronic sign, is being overrun with shrubbery, so that the bottom line of that sign, you can't read it because the shrubs are growing high. So someone just needs to go out and trim the hedges around that sign in front of Tony's over in the Westview, the Westview Shopping Center, that electronic sign that we have. Someone needs to go and trim the hedges. A minor thing, and I meant to call you on it and deal with it on another level, but it just got away from me.
We might have it done already, but no matter what, I'll make sure that it's done.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes my report. Let's see, the mayor's left the dais, so Trustee John Kunkel.
Thank you, Trustee Porter. This week was a pretty busy week for me. Let's see, I know that the Veterans Committee and the Sister Cities Committee had set their finalized reports in for their budgets. They sent it in, I believe, last time we met. The SOC, which is the Suburban O'Hare Commission. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it on? Yeah. Okay, I was sitting too far back, sorry.
Thank you.
They sent a letter to the FAA concerning the runway rotation. As the LNCC only submitted the same runway rotation of B3, and we sent in B3 and H3. So they sent B3 in twice. They decided the first time it was turned down, they changed some wording and then resubmitted it. So the SOC decided to go ahead and send another letter to the FAA. Well, let's see, NASA is in the area here. They're flying a DC-10, checking air samples, checking to make sure that the air quality is good. Apparently it's not doing good. So all this smoke from Canada and stuff coming down, they're trying to check all of that. They'll be here, let's see, the air shows starts their practice tomorrow, so they'll probably be leaving here tomorrow, the area. They've been here for 2 weeks. They've been in the area for 2 weeks. And also I attended the Basket Brigade. That's an organization that gives out baskets for Thanksgiving. What they're doing is they're looking for volunteers to deliver in the village, to residents in the village that are signed up. So you go to the website, the Basket Brigade, and you can fill out your name and put your name on that, volunteer to deliver meals again. So we also needed people to pack up boxes if you want to do it before then. That's about all I have.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Trustee Ben Coley.
Thank you. So I'd like the first part of my report to, I'm going to spend a little bit of time just answering some of the questions that we got from our residents tonight, or at least responding to what they stated to the board. So the first resident that spoke was Mr. Hank. He's not here anymore, but he mentioned several things, but one of the things that he did mention was that he was in favor of our village clerks unionizing. And if he's listening at home via YouTube, I did just want to make sure that he was aware that we do have many staff members that work here that are currently a part of unions. So it is something that the village currently does. I personally support unions, definitely support the right to organize. So did just want to make him aware that we do work with unions quite frequently as a village. The next person that spoke was Mr. Bob Hain. I believe that we have thoroughly addressed the Boulder matter, and I would like to personally thank Chief Johnson for all his work in remedying that matter, and then a thank you to staff as well for the future communications that will go out on that matter. And then last but not least, Mr. Kashan. I'm glad that I'm glad that we as a board heard the resident aspect because none of us do live in Veranda, and so I thought that was important. So, thank you for inviting him to come address the board. I will say that I'm a little bit sad, and this actually came as a surprise to me, but I'm a little bit sad that he and the others were not made aware that that land was going up for sale. And I was under the assumption that when we were notified, the residents were also notified, and that must have come as a huge, huge shock to those residents. And I'm really disappointed to hear that. I hope that we can, as we continue to have conversations with the developer, I really hope that we maybe stress that those communications are critical, because I mean, I would hate to come back to my house and see like a for sale sign and I'm going, what? Like, this is for sale? Like, what? I mean, that's a huge shock. And so I really hope that the developer continues, maybe improves those communications, but I also hope that we maybe serve as a safety net for those residents in regards to communications. So I'm really glad that he spoke tonight. The other thing that I wanted to mention that I didn't fully understand is that he mentioned that the residents are being asked to pay for the median. Is that accurate? What is it?
Do they have a homeowners association? They do. I would assume it's through the homeowners, since he's the board president, correct?
Well, I guess Anuja is communicating with the homeowners association on putting the cost of some of the maintenance on the association. That's what it sounds like to me.
So just to clarify, that median, so it's theirs, and
Until unit 1 is complete.
Is John back?
Yes.
All right. John, can you explain the
Yes.
situation with the median?
Okay, with the median, that is as part of this development, Veranda they had to remove part of the median, and they were landscaping the median. Until the village accepts that development, the developer is still responsible for the median until it gets turned back over to us. So it's an improvement as part of their development, so it's sort of like any part of their construction site, they're responsible for maintaining it until it gets accepted by the village. And at this point, she has not asked for the Unit 1 to be accepted by the village.
okay. So if it hasn't been accepted by the village, then why? Okay.
That's why she said it wasn't complete.
Yeah. So if it, okay. So it hasn't been accepted by the village because it's not complete. But if it's not complete, then why would they be charged?
We're not charging them. That's,
Developer goes to HOA.
Okay. Maybe we could have an offline conversation about this. Yeah.
It's not pretty.
Okay. So thank you for that. So I have a couple more things to discuss. So, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Okay, so earlier today, I was able to, right before the meeting, I was able to, courtesy of John, TJ, and Chris, was able to take the waste treatment plant tour, and it was an awesome tour, and I learned so much, and I'm really, really thankful for our staff and the just incredible work that they do behind the scenes. So much of the work that they do is so thankless. So thank you. Thanks for that great tour.
Nice.
Recently was also able to attend the Monarch Environmental Resource Fair put on by MWRD Ada Coral Sepulveda. There was tree samplings, there was Monarch things, there was rain barrels, all sorts of really great resources. But if you weren't able to attend, Cook County Commissioner Kevin Morrison is also putting on an environmental resource fair in a couple of weeks. Only his, so Ada's fair was within the village at Liberty Park. Cook County Commissioner Kevin Morrison's fair will be in Streamwood, and it'll be held on August 26th in the afternoon in Ralph's Park in Streamwood. So that's just another resource available to our residents. And then did also want to mention that earlier this week, President Biden approved the disaster declaration that Governor Pritzker submitted on behalf of the Cook County residents that were impacted by the flooding that took place last month. And so that approval just took place this week. So if you are a resident in Cook County and your home flooded and there was damage, you can receive disaster assistance. What they want you to do is make an insurance claim, but if there are items that are not covered by your insurance, then you can contact FEMA. This disaster assistance is available through FEMA. You can contact FEMA, they'll ask you some information, and then you can obtain monetary assistance to help with the flooding damage that happened in your home. So did just want to make sure that our residents in Cook County were aware of this very new resource that is made available to them. So again, the assistance is through FEMA, and you can, if you go to disasterassistance.gov, so it's just 2 words, disasterassistance.gov, it will take you to the link where you can apply for that funding. Okay, last but not least, I did just have 2 questions that I was hoping that I could get an answer on, hopefully tonight. So during our last meeting, we removed an agenda item. It was in regards to residency. Will that be placed on the next board meeting agenda under closed session?
I don't know that we stated it'd be on the next meeting. I thought we would defer that until we have a review of the manager. Would be more appropriate at that time. It would fit in with the rest of the dialogue.
That's news to me. I don't think we've discussed that. I think we were asking for a formal discussion to take place.
Okay.
So the formal, it was, from my understanding, it was removed because a discussion hadn't taken place. It just appeared on the agenda.
Well, I thought we would just, what I heard was the table. We didn't state a date for the next meeting.
Right, that's what I'm
So
asking. That's my question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my thoughts, let's table that until we get into our review with the manager, because there's a process that we're gonna jump into within the next month or 2. So that's a key component for that.
Okay, but
I think
that ordinance.
the rules of the board are that if you table something, and it was tabled, to bring it back, you have to move to remove it from the table.
So I need to make a motion?
I'm not saying what you need to do, I'm telling you what the rule is. The rule is that if something is tabled, in order to get it back in front of the village board, you have to make a motion to remove it.
So in order to add it to the agenda, that motion needs to be made first. Is that what you're saying?
Right, in order to bring it back for discussion or whatever you want to do in front of the village board, someone would have to make a motion to remove it from the table.
Okay. So I make a motion to remove,
That motion's not on the agenda.
oh, so well then,
I don't
how are we
think
supposed
it
to do
needs
that?
to be on the
No,
agenda.
it doesn't.
You just can't take any final action on it.
Mayor,
Yes.
when is the review?
Harvey,
What is the review?
when is the review?
Yeah.
We said we wanted to have a review before, as part of the budget process, right?
I did not state that. I just said that We're requesting,
Do we remember?
It's just before, all employees are reviewed before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year is all employees, since we moved that, yes.
So when would that take place?
Before the end of the year.
November-ish,
November?
I would assume,
I would assume November.
but it's not on the calendar yet, I don't.
November.
So thanks for that. Thanks for
It'll
asking
be
that
within
question,
the budget
Trustee Gutierrez.
process.
What I do want to clarify is that that ordinance is not about any specific personnel. It's about village code. So it's a discussion on village code and what the code currently is and how we can update said code. So to move forward,
Well, is there a rush to do this? Are you, I mean, are we in a hurry to do it? I thought we would get this done when we go through that whole process with the review of the manager before the end of the year.
so again, just to repeat what I just said, this is not about any specific person. This is about village code that is out of date, and we're having a formal discussion on said code. It's not tied to any individual. So,
Well,
as described
Is
by
it-
Attorney Paul,
we have a
we
lot of
can't
code
even,
that's out of date. I don't-
that's another discussion, Mayor.
Oh.
I'm talking about a specific thing that we removed from the agenda 2 weeks ago. So I would like to move forward to make a motion. Sorry, Bernie, can you help me? What am I?
You want to pull, we can put on the agenda for the next meeting to pull it from.
Attorney Paul, could you assist me with what I'm supposed to be stating to table this so that it can be added to a future
Remove
agenda?
from the
If
table.
you want it on a future agenda, you could say that you make a motion that it be placed on a future agenda, and you might want to say which agenda, for the purpose of removing it from the table.
So I am making a motion to remove it from the table and add it to a future agenda, and for the purposes of this motion, adding it to Thursday, September 7th, 2023, and with that, that will be discussed in closed session.
I don't think that that's, I think that part of it, Mayor, would be out of order, because I don't believe it would be, unless you can specify some section of the Open Meeting Act that I'm unfamiliar with. I don't believe that is a closed session.
So, okay. Okay, can I just redact the closed session part? Or do I have to repeat the whole thing? Okay, then I redact the closed session part.
Okay, then we're okay.
Thank you.
September 7th, 2023 meeting.
Yes.
Correct. Thank you.
Do I need a motion and a vote, or can we just accept?
If she made a motion,
We need to
then in order for the village board to consider it, there would have to be a second.
Okay. Madam Clerk, call.
Okay.
And just for the purpose of what's going on here, so this is a motion, if I understand it correctly, to place on the next agenda the removal of the table for that item.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. So do we need to take a vote on that?
Yes. Right?
If there's any other discussion.
This is just to remove it from the
Well,
table.
Correct.
It's not to remove.
Correct.
Is it to remove it from the table? That's a different motion.
Not remove it from.
No,
put
I
it back
tried
on
to
the agenda.
clarify what it was, and I said exactly what I meant. And what I said was, is this a motion to place on a future agenda an item to remove that from the table? And then somebody said it was September 7th. You say that this is a motion to remove it from the table.
You told her you had to remove it from the table first, correct?
Yeah.
I said,
You
no,
said-
I said in order to get it in front of the village board for discussion, a motion would have to be made to remove it from the table. She she's indicating that she wants that discussion to take place at a future meeting and not tonight.
Correct.
So if she wants it tonight, then she will make a motion to remove it from the table now. If she wants it for a future meeting, she makes a motion to place it on the next agenda for the purpose of removing it from the table. Those are two different things, and I understood her to mean the latter. Is that correct? You're confused.
So just to clarify, is what I stated correct?
I believe it was.
Okay, then
Let's put it on the table for.
that's all that matters.
Remove from the table.
You're not removing it from the table. You're just making a motion to place it on the next agenda for the purpose of removing it from the table.
Okay, got it. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, now we have clarity.
So do we need to take,
We're making a motion to put it on the future agenda, September 7th. Yes, thankfully first, quarter second, yes.
Any other discussion?
okay, but I guess I'm just trying to clarify, do we need to take a vote on this?
Yeah, I just misunderstood what we were trying to do.
We're gonna
Okay.
take a vote, correct?
We're gonna take a vote.
Thank you.
Now?
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Great. Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
And Trustee Usani?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have one last thing in my report. Thank you, Clerk Merrill. Also, at our previous meeting, we had a discussion about the future of events in the village. And I did just want to remind my fellow board members that when they are meeting with their committees, that they mention those events that may not take place next year, may be axed, and try to get their opinions as to whether they agree with the events that will be removed. I am hopefully, if we make quorum, hopefully meeting with the Environmental Committee next week, so I plan on having that discussion there. But again, I did want to try to figure out if there was some sort of budget deadline that was associated with that events conversation, in which we needed to let village staff know what events that we want to move forward with and which ones we are going to axe.
Go ahead.
Yeah, through Sue, we sent out a memo to all the committees and all the committee liaisons to, at their very next meeting, to answer all those questions. And
So, sorry, so which questions? I guess I'm just
well, it would
trying to
be
figure out,
to
like-
evaluate your, give us an evaluation of the events that take place within your committee and your line items in your, that are in your budget.
Okay, so,
And
so do we need to get back to you by a certain time, I guess is what I'm trying to,
I asked the committee liaison after the meeting to send a report to the, well, to Sue, but to the village manager's office.
okay, after each meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad we got clarity on that other issue. Let's see here. Trustee Priggy?
No report.
Thank you. Trustee Husseini?
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, Tuesday, we had a economic development meeting and discussed about manufacturer meetup in October. And then we discussed about a business after hours that's coming up, about where the restaurant, which restaurant we're gonna pick and stuff like that. But also the major discussion was about, as Trustee Bancole just mentioned, that committees should discuss, is about the events. And it seems like economic development has only one event that goes on in a year. And they were surprised to hear all the other events, and there were, just seems like there's way too many events that happen, and they kind of hear about what we discussed here as to neighboring communities, or mostly was North Shore villages. That was on the list that does only 3 or 4, 5, 6, and Schaumburg was part of it as well, I believe. So they were in favor of having one bigger event and combining some events and stuff like that. So it was a good discussion on that level. And Shubhra is going to submit that report. We had a Development Commission meeting last Thursday and had a public hearing. There were no residents in the public hearing, but we discussed about regulation pertaining to minimum lot size and minimum lot width for the R2 single-family residents and R3 two-family residents. And had a good discussion held about EV charging as well. That kind of, a lot of things kind of weeded out before it gets to the board, and they did a really good discussion. Development Commission had a good discussion about that. Alex kind of held it very, very good. Alex was the one who was doing it. Shubhra was absent. So it went very well. That's it, end of my report.
Thank you very much. No executive session this evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.